These are my two wicking beds I have constructed with parts from other DIY projects I've had around the house. You can construct these out of either plastic tubs like I have, brought from a little cheap shop, or you can buy them from hardware stores. You don't need to use these. You can use something as simple as a bucket or any sort of object that you can put something in. You can drill a hole in the side and chuck a pipe in and fill up a little bit. Works very simply. Great if you have hot summers and you don't get around to watering them as often as you'd like. Today I'll just be redoing the bed on the right here, just for the fact that it was a trial run and I wanted to see how it would go with something that does wick water up like rhubarb. But the problem is I filled it with really poor quality soil, and the soil I had laying around the yard, which is really poor clay soil, and it's compacted really nice. It's moist, but not as moist as I'd like. Whereas my strawberry bed over here, very loose, very moist, wicking very well, and which is something I want to do for this. So I'm going to rip this one up, replace it with some of my homemade compost, vermicompost, and plant some heirloom silver bean into it. So I'll just get to that. I have a little green tree frog, the Australian green tree frog, living in my wicking pipe, so I don't want to disturb him too much. You can see there. Hey little mate. So I've emptied all the wicking bed out with all the soil that was in it, and as you can see there's still water in the bottom. So all I've used is some plumbing pipe here. Easy stuff, you buy any hardware store, drill some holes in the bottom every couple centimeters, easy. I filled it with, so I went to the tip shop here, and you can pretty much just go in and ask for any sort of rubbish debris. These are old tiles that were chopped off by somebody. All I did was smash some of them up, chuck them in the bottom. On the bottom of this bed there was old t-shirts. So this was the barrier between the water and the material down the bottom, those tiles, and the soil. So this helped wick the water up. But as you can see, it's deteriorated. They've only been in there for about 2 months, to be honest. Not long at all. And they don't last very long. So these were the shirts in the bottom that I showed you. I'm just going to replace them with this geo textile fabric that I've cut the size. That will just replace the shirts, lasts a long time, allows the water to seep through and drain out without having to worry about deterioration, which happens with the cotton shirts. And on top of that, I will fill it back in with the soil I've taken out of there, along with some homemade compost. This is literally taken around 2 months in the compost tumbler from old paper shreddings, coffee grounds, food scraps, just waste from your kitchen, anything, and turns into garden gold. This stuff is priceless. So here we are, that geo fabric just sits in there nice and flat like that. We fill this up with soil, just sitting on top of those tiles which are covering that pipe. Done. So I've just placed the soil back in. I placed a layer of that homemade compost on top. Beautiful stuff. Just allows that organic matter to break down while it's in here. And when I add worm castings on top of that with some more homemade compost, it will probably contain some worm eggs and possibly some worms. So that will help dig this in. So it's pretty much almost full now. So when I planted the rhubarb in there initially, I put, say, a handful of worm castings in with each planting. They were the African nightcrawler castings, and it looks like this little guy, well, he's not so little anymore, seemed to seep through with him. He's out of my African nightcrawler bed, which I will put back over with him and let him go back with the rest of the African nightcrawlers. So the wicking bed's all filled up with new soil, compost, worm castings, everything mixed in. Little frog's still in there, can't really see him, he's right down the bottom. But one thing you've got to do when you first make another wicking bed, or repair an old one as I've done here, is you've got to give it a good watering in. Just for that initial watering, just for the fact that just got to moisten up the soil so it stays moist. It's already pretty moist, but nice quick watering in. Okay. So today I'll be planting. These aren't the ideal plants to be planting in here, as they're too small, but they're heirloom silver beet. Don't know if you can see that. Can't exactly see it. These are heirloom silver beet, the 5 colour mix. They are small, so initially I'll have to water the top of them just a couple times a week, just till the roots established, to start that wicking process. So that shouldn't take too long. Once that wicking process is started, all I have to do is water in here once a week. So I'm all planted up. Little coloured silver beet in there, and little seedlings. Last thing I've got to do is add the mulch I originally took off the top. Spread that around, waste not, want not. It's very important to mulch a wicking bed, just for the fact that it keeps that moisture in. So all that moisture it's wicking up from the bottom, mulching it allows it to stay moist from the top, so it doesn't lose too much through evaporation. Thank you, that's the complete design of the refurb wicking bed. If you do like anything in this video, please hit that like and subscribe button. Thank you, and thanks for watching.